Hey guys, we're back with part 2 of the makeup mistakes video. So if you haven't been able to watch my first part of this video, what I'm doing is going over some makeup techniques or trends that maybe aren't as flattering and tend to make you look more aged or more tired. Some of those things that we can tweak in our makeup routine to get a more flattering look. So right now what I've been doing is one half of do this and one half of not this. So just a disclaimer on this, these are obviously my personal opinions and experience that I found being a beauty professional for 20 years. I think that there are just little things that we've all picked up along the way, whether we never got out of certain trends or just haven't increased our makeup know-how. And sometimes we just don't know what's going to be the most flattering on us. So these are just little helpful things that I wanted to share with you. If you love doing your makeup in any of these ways that I don't prefer, it's just makeup, do what you'd like, but these are just, again, my personal opinions on ways to look a little bit more youthful and more flattering on your skin. So I've already gone through and done part 1 of this video, which is everything on the face. If you guys can see the difference here between my face, if you'd like details on that, I'll link the video below. But let's go ahead and hop into our eyes and lips. All right, so I zoomed you guys in so you could get a little closer look. First of all, let's talk a little bit about brows. Now, I do have my brows microbladed, so they do have a bit of tint to them already, but we're gonna talk a little bit about shape. I think that this is something that's really key. We talk about, the eyebrows being really the picture frame for your eyes, but there are definitely things that help balance the face and help make you look a little bit more youthful and awake. So the general rule is when you are shaping your brow is that you want your brow to start, if you were to take a pencil and go straight up from your outside of your nostril, that's where your brow should start. I think a lot of people, they're in a little bit further. I see a lot of times like brows start right where the inner corner of the eye is. And so you do want to extend that a little bit when you can. And then your arch should be from your corner of your nose across the pupil and up. That's where the highest point of your brow should be. And then the tail should be from the corner of the nose to the corner of the eye and out. So I think a lot of people either have their brows a little too short or sometimes a little too long. So that's kind of the general consensus as far as like the shape that you're looking for. Obviously, you can play around with that a little bit. I tend to like my arch out a little higher and further out just for a little bit more drama. And because I like my nose to look a little smaller, I actually usually, my brows come in just a little further than what would be normally your standard. So there's just some of those little things that you can do to sort of tweak what you're looking for, but that is the general rule on that. And one thing that I find a lot is that people are taking their brow down too soon and also angling it down too far, which is going to really like droop your face. And that's one thing that I think has been a theme throughout this whole video is if you're looking to be more youthful, everything's about keeping it lifted and really like brought up as opposed to pulling everything down. So when I go through here, what I'm going to do, and it's going to be hard because I already have, my microblading in place, but if we take this and really get the arch too soon and then drag this tail down, then you guys will see that can actually like make the brow droop a little bit and just make your eyes a little bit too saggy. Now, I wish that maybe, if I didn't have my brows microbladed, you'd be able to see a little bit more of the shape, but we will give you guys a good little idea here, and it'll just be not a super obvious difference, but that would be one thing that I would recommend. Just, like I said, go off of that guideline first, and obviously, nobody's brows are going to be 100% perfect. It really depends on your, your bone structure and everything, but that is a great general rule. So that's still like not too bad, but I wish that I could like fake my arch a little bit in. That'll kind of give us a little bit. So if you can see, like as I'm bringing this brow down, it's just kind of going to pull down the edge of my face. So keeping it lifted a little bit higher, it doesn't quite do that. So on this side, I'm going to keep my brow the arch on the outer edge. So here, like I said, I like to bring my brow in a little closer. Like the more space there is right here, the more the eye sees a wider bridge and a wider nose. So I like to just take this in, and I'm not talking about like bringing it in really far, even just like that, you know, 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch can really make a big difference. This is actually when I usually, I prefer to do my brows with that feathery technique. So I'd be using the tools that I use for that. If you guys are curious about that, I can link that video down below, how I like to achieve that more like feathery brow versus a blockier, more like perfected brow. But this will just give you a little bit of an idea. So even just, and I know it is a little bit warmer, but bear with me on this. But just having that even a little bit further in. So if you guys can see there, this is obviously much more dramatic too. And we'll push these little hairs down. So having a brow that goes down more is going to really make the edge of your eye like droop down a little bit more, and keeping it up. It still obviously has a really nice arch, but keeping it up a little higher is going to help keep that lifted look. That's why really, you know, especially as we get older, we don't really want to wax or pluck much down from up here. We want to keep everything really nice and lifted, because obviously the skin just over time will get lower anyway. So you really just want to keep what's really up towards the top of that arch really nice. So I'm going to just use some brow gel to put the hairs in place. All right, it's not going to be a super huge difference again, just because, like I said, the microblading that I have only gives me so much room to like play with my shape. So that's going to be my tips for you on how to keep a more lifted, youthful brow. And then we will move on to eyeliner. So I'm going to keep my eyes shadow free, just so you guys can really see the difference that this eyeliner is going to give. I think that a lot of people wear their eyeliner a little bit too harsh and unblended, and also like rim the lower line like really strongly. And a lot of times I see people who are wearing just lower liner. What that's going to do is it's actually going to make your eyes look like recessed and lowered and smaller. Like the more you rim your eye with a dark color, the smaller your eyes are going to look. It's just like when we wear black pants to make our butt look smaller. If you're wearing really dark eyeliner, it's going to make your eyes look a little bit smaller. So unless you have a really large eye shape, I recommend doing something that's a little bit softer, but I'm going to show you what I mean, and we will also do the difference between a black liner and something that's a little bit lighter as well. I'm going to take a black eye pencil, and we're just going to really rim this lower lash line. It has been so long since I have put black eyeliner all the way underneath my eye. I'm like struggling. And then we will do it on the top as well. The other thing about when we are lining our lid is it is crucial to really get in and work into those areas like where the lash line meets your lid. I think, it's really easy to like skip that little line right there. And so a lot of times I'll use a black shadow to really kind of like fill that in a little bit better. Wow, this Urban Decay pencil is so creamy that it's like ridiculously hard to work with. So that's like the poorest black eyeliner job I've done in a very long time. Okay, so that is a little bit more than I was intending to do, but you guys can get the idea of when you completely line your lid, and especially a lot of times I see people who just have the underneath done and not the top. So what we're gonna do to still get a beautifully like outlined eye, but something that's a little bit softer, is we're gonna use a really dark brown. This is Brouhaha from ColourPop. And I'm also going to do that in combination with shadow. So what I'm going to do is line the top completely. And I chose these two because these both are really creamy, because we're going to actually go through and smudge it out. I'm going to take an E21 brush from Sigma and just smoke this liner out. And then on the bottom, I'm just going to do like the outer. I'm just using this smudge brush to pull some of that liner down and underneath. And then what I'll do is I'm going to take a brown shadow. So this is a Zodiac palette from ColourPop, and I'm taking the Virgo, which is, I'm a Virgo, so maybe I was partial, but this is a really nice, like rich brown shade. And I'm just going to take that and dust that right along that edge, and then take a pencil brush in something a little bit lighter. So the Taurus, I'll show you guys what I'm using. So this is the Virgo, which is that dark brown shade, and then I'm taking a little bit of the Taurus, which is that caramely shade right above it, and I'm just going to take this and soften that line out and just give it a little bit of a smoked out look. So with this, what I'll get is like a really nice softening. And even if you're just using a really like soft color that's one shade darker than your natural skin tone, it's going to help blur any fine lines that you get underneath your eyes. That a little bit darker, like matte color, will help kind of diffuse that a little bit. And what I'll do is just pop a little bit of that above the liner on top as well. So I'm just layering that just over the edge of that other color. So again, this is a more dramatic version of the option, but if you are just doing a really skinny line, same thing applies. I would just do a little bit softer tone and then making that more smudgy. So this just looks more blurred out and diffused, and then that is a little bit more harsh. Now you can certainly choose to just go like 2/3 of the way in and not smoke that liner out all the way in and just leave it a little bit more like corner. You can completely not do the liner underneath and only do the shadow. That also looks really nice, but this will just show you the difference between those two things. And so if I take this Urban Decay pencil and also like do my waterline here, and again, that's going to make it look even smaller and tighter in around the eye. What I can do on the other side is you can take a lighter tone, like almost a skin tone liner, and brighten up that inner rim, that lower waterline, and that will give you like a brighter, more open appearance. So anything that is lighter is going to help make things look wider, bigger, and anything that's darker is going to make them look smaller. So the minute you add a little bit of a cream tone, like this is ColourPop Honey Dude, and this will help keep that eye looking less pink, because if that skin gets pink and irritated at all, this makes that look nice and bright, and then it keeps it looking more open. So that is going to be two big things that you can do to make a difference. And like I said, this is a little bit more dramatic on both sides, but you can really get the effect of the difference between taking a really dark eyeliner all the way through and then doing something that's a little bit lighter and smokier. It just really helps like soften that out. So if you're looking for a little bit more drama, this is a way to do it in a softer way. So now what we're going to do is go through and set the face. I'm only going to set this half of my face just to show you guys the difference. Now I know that this is something that I probably could have done during the face portion of the video, but this way you guys will get to get a little sneak peek. But anytime that you set your skin whether you're using a longevity setting mist or just something that's going to help like mesh and meld those powders in. Those are two big things that are really going to make a difference. This is also going to help the eyeliner not slide around. So now we'll go through and we're going to do lash curling. So I'm going to curl this side of my lashes. I think that curling your lashes is something that some people skip, but it really is the quickest way to make your eyes look more open and bright and awake. Just having that lifted lash really does make a huge difference. And I'm going to go through with the same mascara on both sides. This, of course, is the L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black Mascara. You guys know this is like my favorite for getting longer, like stretched out lashes. And of course, I already got a fleck of mascara on my face. So big tip on that is if you get a mascara like blop, just let it dry and then you can take the tip of a Q-tip and easily like sweep that away. I think usually we rush to try to like remove it, and then of course it's just gonna smudge because the mascara is wet. So just let it dry and then you can pretty easily like whisk it away. So my lashes are nice and lifted. They've got some nice curl to them. And then on this side, we're just gonna leave it as is. And I have fairly like long yet straight lashes. So the thing about that is no one will ever see how long they are if they're just coming straight out. So you wanna make sure to give those a little curl, and that'll really help pop open your eye. All right, so 2 coats of mascara on both sides. I feel like this side just has a little bit more lift and volume, and this side is just a little bit more like ho-hum. 2 seconds, and it just makes such a difference for me throughout the day. So that's gonna be that for the eyes. All right, so just a couple more things to talk about with lips. And the first one is going to be using a lip liner. So 2 reasons for this is A, you're going to be able to perfect your lip shape and really get a little bit more fullness if you need it on your lips. And the other is, in all honesty, just to help keep your lip product in place. With our lip line, as we get older, we tend to get some fine lines and wrinkles. And when we're using a lipstick, especially anything with color to it, it's going to feather out into that. So lip liner, because of the waxy formula, it's going to help keep that from seeping into those lines and bleeding out a little bit. So we're going to line the one side of our lips and just keep that pretty close to the natural shape, but add just a smidge. Now my lip line, as I've gotten older, has definitely started being less defined. So I'm going to use a color that's pretty close to my natural lip color to just even out that lip line and give it some nice fullness. And this is Pillow Talk from Charlotte Tilbury. I picked this up in the VIB sale, and you know, it's one of these like cult classic shades, and this is really incredibly expensive for a pencil, but I do really like it. I think I will probably totally use this, and it's well worth me having to sharpen it, because you guys know I don't really like sharpening pencils, but I will definitely use this. If you want to see the other things that I got, this is one that I forgot to say in the video, but all of my recommendations and VIB sale items are in my recent video, so I'll link that as below as well. The other thing is going to be to choose to wear a creamier lip formula. The more matte you go, the more dehydrated your lips are going to look, and it's just not going to be as flattering. The texture is going to show up right away. So you want something that's a little bit creamier. I'm going to use an Ofra liquid lipstick on this side, and then I'll use a Bite Beauty on the other side. Now, Ofra is by no means a super drying matte formula, but they definitely do have a bit more of a matte texture to them. In all honesty, I don't own many really matte lipsticks anymore because I know that I don't appreciate the way that they feel, and I really don't like the way that they look on my lips. So I really don't have a lot of like super drying mattes to use. But Ofra is a really nice one. However, because it does have a matte finish to it, or almost like it's leaning towards slightly satin, but it's definitely more on the matte side, you're just gonna see a drier finish to the lip. Now, these are by no means gonna be exact dupes for color, but you'll be able to see the difference. I mean, already right away, I can feel how much more comfortable this is. So I zoomed you guys in so you can see this side of my lips just looks juicier and fuller. And this is by no means a really shiny lipstick. It's just more of like a creamy finish to it. So this, along with having lined my lips, it looks a little fuller. And this is actually the side of my lips that is naturally a little bit smaller. So I was able to just correct that a little bit with that lip liner. And this is the matte side. So you can see it's just a little bit more creasy and it isn't as like juicy looking. So that's going to be the difference there. So you guys can kind of see. All right, guys, so those are a few of my tips and tricks on ways to keep that more youthful, awake look. I hope that you found a couple of these helpful. Let me know down below if there's anything that you're going to try tweaking in your makeup routine. Like I said, it is just makeup, so do whatever you want. But if you're looking for a few tips on ways to feel a little bit more fresh and youthful, these are definitely some of my favorites. What do you guys think? Can you tell a difference between the two sides? We've got the do this side. So we've got nice, like, I would say sculpted skin. We've got dramatic liner that isn't really going to close in our eyes too much. Nice juicy lips. And then this is the side with all of the, what I would call makeup mistakes. So what do you guys think? Let me know down below, and let me know, do you have a tip that I should try? I found that especially this skin makeup, since it has been sitting on for a little while, I'm definitely even just feeling a difference. So please check out that video if you want all the details on that. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Please give this a big like if you found it helpful. Let me know down below if you have any tips for me to try, things that you found that you feel make you look more youthful, or things that you've tried that you really didn't enjoy. I love to learn new stuff. I hope you guys are having a great fall, and I will see you really soon.